Cajun Conservative Show, where I talk about life, I talk about liberty, and yes, I talk about the pursuit of happiness, and I show you, the audience in the world, that Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day, good week, wherever you're located. Just remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. You should rejoice and be glad in it. If you're listening on TikTok, please share the episode. Go ahead and let your friends know about this the show that's going on TikTok live right now. And if you are listening on the podcast side and YouTube and Rumble, you need to go ahead and do the same. You need to go ahead and tell your friends and your family and share with all your social media accounts. Please help this podcast grow. Ladies and gentlemen, at the time of this recording, it is April Fool's Day. I don't know if I ever did an episode on April Fool's Day. Some people might be listening and say, well, you know, you fit the bill, but I say these are atheists. You know, this is they made a whole holiday for atheists, April Fools. But anyway, April Fools is a thing, to a practical joke or whatever. But I'm not into that. I used to be. I'm not into it no more. But yeah, April Fool's Day, and let's I'm not going to go there. All right, so let's jump right into the topic. We had a busy weekend news-wise. We have somebody from Israel. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the show. We will be talking a little bit about Israel and stuff later on if you want to stay tuned for that. But anyway, busy weekend. Busy weekend. And they had a lot going on. Ladies and gentlemen, Proverbs 18:34. I'm reading from the New King James Bible. It says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to anyone, to any people. And ladies and gentlemen, as a nation, we are allowing sin in our midst. It isn't something that is hidden no more. If you read history, back in the late 50s, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, sin was looked down upon. We had people that were moral. We had people that were, that had common sense. And we had somewhat of righteousness in this nation. But it's not like that no more. Sin is allowed openly all of a sudden. And it's just not being allowed openly. It is being used to replace values of the Christian faith, or even holidays from the Christian faith. And this is not coming from somebody that is a no name. It is coming from the very top. The President of the United States is promoting sin openly. Why do I say that? Well, Biden proclaims Easter Sunday to be Transgender Day of Visibility. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The President of the United States went ahead this past Friday and made a proclamation that March 31st would be the day of Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, it does fall on March 31st. But a president doesn't have to make a proclamation. The person that started this, they were like, we're going to do this, whatever. But no president has really acknowledged it. Now, President Biden has done it in the past. But this year, it fell on March 31st, which was Easter Sunday. Now, if you want to know what Easter is, you can go and listen to my last episode. And at the end of the show, I tell you what I think Easter is. And if you go ahead and if you study Easter's primary, I'm going to say this right, primary agenda or point is to remember Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. And ladies and gentlemen, for the president to go ahead and say, hey, we're gonna push Transgender Day of Visibility, where most Christians don't believe in that, in my opinion, is a slap in the face. President Biden said, I am proud that my administration has stand for justice from the start, working to ensure that the LGBTQI plus community can live openly and safely in dignity and respect, and proclamation continued. The proclamation was met with backlash online as social media users criticized the Catholic president for disrespecting Christians. And there is a long list of people that include Jonathan Isaac from The Magic. Jonathan Isaac went ahead and wrote, and this is according to Fox News. Let me go ahead and get the quote up. he went ahead and said they want you to hate. These people, this helps no one and only promotes division, which it does. They know exactly what they are doing. We should be angry, but shouldn't lose the spirit of what tomorrow means. Don't lose focus because he is risen. There is hope for all. And ladies and gentlemen, I agree with Jonathan Isaac. Yes, this caused division. Now, I got a couple of questions that I would have to ask. Why did Biden do this on Easter? And there's a couple of reasons why I think he did it on Easter. One was popularity. Well, publicity. If you think about it, okay, Joe Biden did this on Easter. He knew it would catch wind. And it puts him in the spotlight. Now, his thinking, which I don't know what the president's thinking lately, he probably says, well, if I do this, I'm going to gain some brownie points with the LGBTQ community. And he wants to assure them votes. But you got to look at it on the other side as well. When by Biden doing this, he looks like he don't respect the Christian community. Because again, this head up a firestorm because the president of the United States is pushing something that majority of Christians do not believe in. And him doing this, he's not respecting the Christian faith. And again, he's trying to assure the votes of the LGBTQ plus community. But see, there's an issue right there, though. There is more Christians in this nation than there are LGBTQ plus communities. And look, they're out there. Okay, we can't deny they're out there. We're not living under a rock. This lifestyle is being pushed. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, there are votes, but at the same time, there are not a lot of votes. And to be honest with you, Biden probably already secured them votes. But he's trying to pamper to that community. Which leads me to my next point. It's okay to offend Christians, apparently. It is okay to tell Christians, hey, on the day that y'all set aside to remember the death and the burial of resurrection, we're going to go ahead and throw this wrench in it and get you upset. It's okay for you to be upset. It's okay for you to be offended because you are a Christian and you have to turn the other cheek. And look, the media has done this multiple times. You had news networks do this multiple times. You've had shows do. You had presidents as well. But it's funny how the left thinks it's okay to go ahead and offend Christians, but it's not okay to offend any other group of people. And look, this isn't just for the LGBTQ plus community. This is for everybody else. The Muslims, the LGBTQ community, the Palestinians right now. We're going to talk about this later on. It's okay for the president of the United States and the left to offend Christians, but not offend nobody else. We have to worry about everybody else's feelings except the Christian community. And what's sad about this is, I know he's Roman Catholic, but President Joe Biden is supposed to be a Christian. Again, he's Roman Catholic. If you're a Roman Catholic out there, they consider this part of the evangelical groups. What is Joe Biden doing? Joe Biden should have said, listen, you know what? This day is set for our Lord and Savior. We can do this the next week. But no, he put it on Easter and he offended the Christian community. And I'm gonna say it like this. I don't think he respects the Christian faith. I don't think he respects the Christian community. Why do I say that? Because Jesus told us in his word that if you love me, you will keep my commandments. The Bible is clear on a lot of points I brought out today, and President Joe Biden has been the opposite of the spectrum. He does not believe the same way as the Bible teaches. To be honest with you, I don't think President Biden would know a Bible if it slapped him in the face. Because a true Christian would not do this. A true Christian would not substitute something that is forbidden in Scripture to honor Christ. No Christian would do it. No Christian would substitute that. He substituted the death, burial, and resurrection for transgender day of visibility. And ladies and gentlemen, to be honest with you, I don't understand why any Christian would vote for Joe Biden come this year. They should remember this. Christians, you need to stand up. And I've been hearing it all weekend, that Christians need to be open about their faith. No, I'm not a Christian nationalist. But I do believe Christians need to stand up for the truth. There is right and there is wrong. There is truth and there is lies. This is one of the reasons why I do this show. I want to make sure people hear the truth and are exposed to the lies so they can make a decision on their own. I don't like being told half-truths. But it's time for Christians to stand up. It's time for Christians to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's time. And to be honest with you, like I said, I don't understand why any Christian would vote for Joe Biden. He doesn't respect our values. He doesn't respect our beliefs. On that note, it's sad, but this is the fact at hand. Some Christians will vote for Joe Biden because they either don't know what he's doing, which is possible, and they're hearing him talk about the big bad orange man, or they care about their political feelings besides their biblical standards. I think that's a message in itself right there. People vote on their feelings. Well, I don't like how Trump does this and Trump does that. But what about your biblical standards? Now, you might be watching TikTok. You might be listening to this podcast and say, wait, what does Donald Trump have value? Why does Donald Trump, what biblical standards do Donald Trump have? Well, first off, he's against abortion. He has proved it in his last legislation. That's one of my key points. He thinks this is nonsense what they're doing. And look, I've already said this on the podcast. Donald Trump is not a Christian. I don't believe he is. Now, I could be wrong, but if you compare him and Biden together, and the one that is closer to the biblical standard is Donald Trump. And look, why do we believe as Christians abortion's wrong? It's because the Bible says it's wrong. Not because the Republican Party says it's wrong. I come on here and I criticize the Republican Party almost all the time. We have to have a biblical standard. And you Christians, if you're left-leaning, hey, God help you. But when Donald Trump was in office, we had people praying on him. He allowed prayer. He allowed things of the Bible to be exposed. He wouldn't have pulled a stunt like this. And again, like I said, it's a sad fact that some Christians would vote for Joe Biden. That's where you got to go in your prayer closet. But in 2024, we need to put the right person in there. And look, Donald Trump is not going to fix the world. Okay, I don't put my faith and trust in Donald Trump. I put my faith and trust in Christ. And only Christ can fix with this mess that we're going on right now. But for a man to say he's a Christian and that he's a faithful Catholic and that he loves the faith and does something like this past weekend, his fruits are showing and his fruits are rotten. All right, moving on. Foreign leaders don't respect Joe Biden as a leader. This is a whole different segment, and I know I jumped, but I've been feeling this for a while, and I seen this. President Donald Trump, when he was in office, had his ways, but I've already said this. Vladimir Putin thought, this man's crazy. I better not touch his buttons. Joe Biden, they don't care. Think about it, okay? Donald Trump got into office, and we didn't have no new wars. None whatsoever. President Biden got into office. We lost Afghanistan. We're losing Haiti right now. Taiwan is on the brink of war with China. Ukraine and Russia has been attacked. Russia has attacked Ukraine. And you just have the Middle East in an uproar. Now, some of this you can't blame on President Joe Biden. We'll be fair on this podcast, and we say you can't place the blame for Joe Biden on certain things. But when Joe Biden says don't do it, I feel a lot of these foreign leaders say, no, we're not going to do it. And there's an example of this from this weekend. And the reason the reason I'm saying this is because President Donald Trump responded to the Mexican president's list of demands to Joe Biden. This is from Town Hall, and I have an article that says Trump reacts to Mexican president's a $20 billion demand from Biden administration. I wouldn't give him 10 cents. That came from Donald Trump, and I'm going to pull up the Fox News article for this. So what happened was the Mexican president appeared on 60 Minutes, and they were asking him some questions about the southern border. As you know, the southern border is in shambles right now. At the time of this recording, there's probably 9 to 10 million people that have crossed over the border. And it is hurting our economy. It is hurting our national security. It is a mess. Now, America can do certain things on its side, but it needs to partner up with Mexico to stop it on the other side. There's we don't talk about the Mexican government too much. We talk about our government and how badly run the southern border is, but we got to remember there is another side of that border. And see, Mexico isn't having the problem with people going in. There's not a migrant group planning to go to Mexico. You don't hear this. You don't hear Americans saying, hey, look, we want a better life in Mexico. So they pack up all their stuff and they travel to Mexico. It doesn't happen. So Mexico isn't having a influx of people come. Now they're having an exodus. So you have to worry about that. But they're sending a lot of that money back, workers, if they're Mexican citizens, and they're giving it to their families. And look, I'm not against it. If you want to come to the United States and work to provide for your family, by means, do it. But please do it legally if you're listening in Mexico. But on 60 Minutes, the president of Mexico says we're not going to shut down our border until you change your policy on Cuba and change your policy on Venezuela. It is okay for the Mexican president to dictate American policy, the anchor asked Trump. Trump said, well, he said much more than that. He said he wants 10 million essentially just to talk, 10 million to talk, and that comes out since, and no, that wouldn't happen with me with the wall. So Donald Trump's going back to the wall. What changed? Kilmore followed up with that. It's very simple. Lack of respect for the president. They would never say that to me. They would never say because we even talk. They want 10 billion a year. Excuse me, my sinuses are acting up. Mexico just asked for 10 billion a year. They would never ask it. I wouldn't give them 10 cents, Trump said. Now, going back to the 60-minute interview with the president of Mexico, he doubled down on his demands previously made in January to the Biden administration in exchange for support from the Mexican government to halt the surge of illegal immigrants, amongst them lifting sanctions on Cuba and Venezuela, sending Latino Americans and Cuban countries $20 billion a year in aid, and granting legal status to Mexican illegal immigrants in the United States. The Mexican president said the flow of migrants will continue unless the U.S. meets his demands. Ladies and gentlemen, that, to me, that's scary. You have a president a president of another country that's next door to us refusing to help. Now, why isn't Biden doing something about this? Okay, because look, essentially, the Mexican president basically admitted to letting people into our country that are illegal, all because he wants money and he wants America to change his political policy on the border. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds like blackmail. It sounds like blackmail. You're telling me a foreign entity or a foreign government is telling the American people, listen, unless you do this, we're not going to do this. Now, I understand politics. Sometimes you have to, if you have an ace up your sleeve, you use it. But President Joe Biden isn't doing nothing. He's still letting them come in. Now, as the president of the United States, he could tell Mexico, well, look, you're not going to do what we want to do. Okay, we're going to throw a tariff on you, or we're going to throw sanctions on you. And I bet you the Mexican president changes his tone real quick. But President Biden ain't doing that. Why? Because Biden don't have the guts, to say it in a nice way, to stand up to any foreign government or any foreign leader. We're going to work it out through diplomacy. Well, he's not moving, and we're having people come across the border. The president of Mexico basically said, look, I can stop this, but I'm not. I want you to change your policy. And this is the whole thing, too. If you look at it, right, if America would do this to a nation and tell them, change your policy, or we won't give you this, it'll be frowned upon throughout the whole world. America's trying to twist the arms of a small government. They're trying to they're trying to have influence on their policy. But other countries do it to us, and you hear crickets. Like I said, I got this on Town Hall, which is a conservative news site, and Fox News, which is labeled conservative. I don't remember seeing this on any other network. I don't remember seeing this on any other show or talked about. But this is a big story. Look, and like I said, there's a twofold argument right here. Biden has let people in here and not doing anything about our southern border. But Mexico isn't either, because they want money. Now, we have to ask the question, will Biden cave to the demands of Mexico? Possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a news story saying, hey, President Joe Biden has lifted sanctions on Cuba and Venezuela. They've given Mexico so much money to start the conversation. It wouldn't surprise me. Why? Because President Joe Biden is weak. He don't have a backbone. And look, we've seen this already. This is the only thing. Okay, Joe Biden never caves to the right. That's one thing that's something he has guts for. He never backs down to the right. I wish he would back down to the right like he backed down to these foreign governments. But see, in his mind, the way Trump governed, it was bad. Because he put America first. Biden has already said this. There's videos of that. He said he's worried about the world's economy. He's worried about the world's issues instead of America issues. We have to be an American first nation. The president has to have the mindset of saying we are America first. And this is why we need a leader. And I know I'm going to make some people upset on TikTok. I'm going to make some people upset on the podcast. I know, but if you're a left-leaning person, well, get ready to be offended, because this is why we need a leader with some backbone like Trump had. Trump proved that he had a backbone. Donald Trump told Vladimir Putin, don't do this, and guess what? He didn't do it. Now, was Vladimir Putin scared of Donald Trump? No, but I think he weighed the cost in his mind, saying, listen, Donald Trump might pull that lever, might press that button. And then we're going to be in a lot more headache than we are now. Same thing with Mexico. You know, we didn't have a good relationship with Mexico when Trump was in there. But we didn't have 8 million people crossing over the border either. They're doing this to Biden because Biden does not have a backbone. Biden is not tough on these people. He's not. And they know he's not tough. That's why they're trying to get away with all this. This is why I believe Ukraine's asking for billions and billions and billions of dollars every so often. They know Joe Biden. They tell Joe Biden, hey, we need billions. And he's going to go ahead and rush to Congress and tell them, hey, we need billions and billions for Ukraine. Biden is weak, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care who you are. We're not better off than we were 4 years ago. And look, there's people that try to claim this, and guess what? They always start before 2020. She was low and down on this and that and this, and they forget about the pandemic that they preached for 2 years prior to that. And just, we're not better off. And we're not better off as a country. We're not better off economically. We're not nothing. Because we have a weak leader. And other countries see that. But you still have some on the left. Oh no, President Biden's doing a great job. Well, you can have your belief. I'm not gonna go ahead and stop you. You live in America. You can believe whatever you want. All right, moving on to our last story of the day. It still amazes me how people are willfully ignorant. Think about this, all right? There's some people out there, they don't know the facts at all. They don't do research. They don't do they don't hear the news. They don't nothing like that. They are willfully ignorant. And like I said, there's just some people that they don't, but there's some people that listen to all this and they see all the facts and they still decide to be willfully ignorant. They still believe, hey, we should go ahead and support this group. It don't matter that we've seen all the facts and the stories of what they're doing. We're still going to support this group. And to support something that is wrong, in my opinion. But there's some people that will go on the street corners, knowing something is wrong, and still try to prove that it's right. And we've seen this on Saturday night in America. A pro-Palestinian protest interrupted an Easter vigil service at St. Patrick Cathedral in New York. They were having a special mass, and they were praying for peace. That's a key word right there, peace in the Middle East. And thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters gathered in Times Square early in the day for a Palestinian land day that took their protest to Easter Vigil service at St. Patrick Cathedral in New York City on Saturday evening. During the second reading, chants of free Palestine could be heard ringing out during the service. Now, the protesters were quickly taken out of the service moments after, as many in attendance did not acknowledge the outbursts. Now, these people didn't do it. The mass was led by Cardinal Timothy Delane, Archbishop of New York. He made a quote. He said, all over the world, millions gather Saturday to correction. That's the artist correction. The right of the article. All over the world, millions gather Saturday to protest the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops issued a call for prayer for peace in the Middle East and an end to the Israel-Hamas war in a statement before the start of Holy Week. So this was a call for peace. But ladies and gentlemen, I learned something about these people that back Palestine. And look, you have the right, like I said, if you're an American citizen, you have the right to protest. If you think the sky is red, you have the right to protest. Hey, the sky is red. But this was a vigil, again, for peace. They were praying for peace in the Middle East. And these protesters, to make their voices heard, interrupted this prayer for peace. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, these protesters don't want peace. They want division and chaos. Because, okay, why you can't peacefully protest? Why can't you stand outside and hold up a sign and saying this is wrong? Maybe because they wouldn't get the news flash on everybody's phones. They wouldn't get the interview on CNN and MSNBC and all these communistic news networks. So what they do, instead of promoting peace, they promote chaos. Because, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these protests, these Palestinian protests, yes, they are peaceful, most of them. But some of them hit the headline for interrupting things that should not be interrupted. They were praying for peace. Also, we have to ask the question, why these pro-Palestinian protesters were protesting in front of a church. Think about this, okay? Why were they protesting in front of the church? The Christians didn't do nothing wrong. The Christians didn't go and break through Israel's border and attack families. Israel didn't do that. The church didn't do that. No Christian was in that group. Hamas was, though. Now, we know why they do that, because most of churches support Israel in their quest to annihilate Hamas. But the church didn't start a war, nor did Israel start this war. Going back to that point, all the people that we need to protect Palestinians' rights. Well, the Palestinians should be mad at Hamas. The Palestinians, no Palestinian, in my opinion, initiated this war. There were some that supported Hamas, but they didn't go attack Israel on that day. Hamas did. Hamas put out a full-blown attack on Israel. And they started this war. But they want to blame Israel. What did the Palestinians expect Israel to do? Just sit down with their hands in their pockets? But all these pro-Palestinians that are protesting, forget about that. They forget that it's Hamas that started this thing, not Israel. Israel has the right to defend themselves. And this is why I was upset. This wasn't in my notes, but this is why I was upset that the UN pushing for a ceasefire and Israel did not, America did not veto it. And look, I remember when this conflict happened. I said this, look, they're backing Israel now, but wait down the line. This administration and this government that is leading America right now will not back Israel. Or they say they'll back Israel, but we have to worry about the Palestinians. And ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. It's happening. This administration is slowly, they're moving away from supporting Israel. Very slowly. With that being said, there's one more point I want to make. Because they did this in front of a church. Once again, this proves that Christianity and everything that is right in this country is under attack. Okay, look, we had the first story about how the president, knowing it's Easter, make a proclamation to substitute it with something that is not believed in most churches. Christianity is under attack. We had a story last week where The View was upset that Donald Trump was selling a Bible. And I understand you can have your arguments on, this is for profit, this is for whatever. But they were upset, and you look at their face that there's another Bible on the market. It looked like the demons were about to manifest. And they were trying to defend Christianity, but they always attack Christianity. Even in that segment, I have the video where Joy Behar said that fascism is going to be coming with people waving an American flag and holding a Bible. That's an attack on Christianity. Christianity and everything that is right. And I'm saying this, everything that is right, because Israel is right. Israel, look, I don't endorse Judaism because I believe Jesus Christ is king, but I support the land of Israel. And there's two things that left-leaning people, majority of left-leaning people, and countries that hate God go after: Christianity and the Jewish state. They go after them all the time. And ladies and gentlemen, Christianity and everything that is right is attacked in this nation, because what they're doing is promoting sin, and they're promoting things that are wrong instead of the things that are right. And look, we need a change in this country. Again, I'm going to say what I said earlier. I'm not putting my faith in Donald Trump. I'm not. All these people that thought Donald Trump was going to win last time, well, guess what? Your prophecy was wrong. And you can have your belief about the election. I don't care. But Donald Trump is not the president of the United States. But at the same time, he's pushing to protect Israel. Every Jewish person should vote for Donald Trump, but they won't. Again, a sad fact, some Jewish people will vote for Democrats that are pushing for they're giving up their free state. This nation needs a spiritual awakening. God's the only one that can put this country back on track. And when we stop worrying about politics and start putting him first is going to happen. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their evil ways, then will I hear from heaven and I will heal their land. That's what the Bible says. That's 2 Chronicles. So 2 Chronicles. Ladies and gentlemen, we need an awakening in America. And look, I'm hoping Donald Trump wins. I think Donald Trump's the best one for president. But what if Donald Trump does not win? What you going to do, church? It's time to get off our lazy butts and start proclaiming the gospel. That's the pastor coming out of me now. With that being said, that's going to wrap up this show of the Cajun Conservative Show. I want to thank everyone that listened to the podcast on TikTok Live. And if you can, please, if you like the content, share it and follow the channel. It helps me out more than you know. This goes also for my YouTube audience and my Rumble audience that are watching right now. Thank you, as always, for listening to the show. And please share with your friends and your family. At the same time, all my podcast listeners, if you can, leave a review on the podcast platform you're listening on. And we're on several platforms. You can go into my bio and look at the link for the website. And you can also, in my description, you can see our Facebook page, our website, and all that good stuff. I have to get ready to go to work, but as always, I'm glad to be with you here. We will make a program announcement right now. I've been feeling I need to do this. As you know, I am an extremely busy man with ministry and work and the podcast. So I try doing it every day, and it is difficult. It's difficult to do. I thought we could do it. And I started doing this format, and I think it's a lot better content. I haven't had my coffee yet, so I'm trying to get through dry mouth and get some coffee. But I take more time to put a story together, and I'm gonna go ahead and go 3 days a week. Now, this is gonna be Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning. That gives me a day to prep. That gives me a day to rest, and I am not drained when I come into the studio, and I don't have to rush either. So we're figuring out the times and the places. TikTok Live, that's when we're going to go TikTok Live at probably 5 o'clock, between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, depending on what's going on. The video will be released right after. So with that being said, please stay tuned for them shows. We will be back next time here on the Cajun Conservative Show. So be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.